public financial review of SIS by the committee. Today, in my opening remarks, I'll focus on three important areas relating to the service. Our achievements during the year under review, keeping in mind that much of our operational work cannot be discussed in open session, the people who make up the NZSIS, and oversight and accountability. But let me begin by setting out briefly the context of our security and intelligence work in today's complex and globalised world. New Zealand is a small country a long way from anywhere. We're critically dependent for our livelihood as a country on the goods and services that we produce and export. As a small trading nation, therefore, our livelihood depends on a stable and relatively predictable international world order and on the rule of international law, as well as our ability to protect our intellectual property. That's why successive New Zealand governments have placed such emphasis on multilateral arrangements, but especially through the United Nations. It's why successive governments have contributed effort and resources, especially through defence deployments and our aid programs, to stabilisation or peacekeeping missions across the globe. In Bosnia, the Sinai or Afghanistan, for example. Closer to home, regional stability is important for New Zealand's well-being. So again, defence and police missions to intervene and assist in countries such as East Timor and the Solomon Islands have been tangible evidence of New Zealand doing its bit to making a positive difference and contributing as a good international citizen. Intelligence collected and assessed by our intelligence community has been important for government in making these decisions to commit resources and effort, and also for those involved in carrying out such missions to do so as safely and as effectively as possible. And a quick scan of the globe serves to remind us all of the conflicts and tensions which undermine stability and which impact on New Zealand's wider interests. Of particular current concern are a small number of New Zealanders interested in travelling for the purposes of fighting in trouble spots such as Somalia, Yemen, and more worryingly, Syria. This poses new and very real risks to our domestic security environment should these individuals return home. Now that's the big picture view of the context and value of the work of our agencies. For SIS, this work can be summed up as protecting New Zealanders and advancing New Zealand's interests. So turning quickly now to the NZSIS itself, it's important to understand that SIS is a very small service, approximately 230 people, and it has three distinct roles. First of all, we're a security clearance vetting service. Second, we're a security service focused on detecting and advising on dealing with threats to New Zealand and New Zealanders. This is our traditional role. In our legislation, these security threats are characterised broadly as terrorism, espionage, sabotage and subversion, and that which impacts on New Zealand's international well-being or economic well-being. And we face increasing challenges from today's speed of technological change and new manifestations of traditional threats through the medium of cyber. And finally, we collect foreign intelligence and support the work of other arms of government in seeking to achieve or improve the stability of our region. So SIS, as a small service, is essentially three agencies rolled into one and must make the tough choices concerning our allocation of resources and effort within the framework of government priorities. In doing all this, we're guided by government's focus on investing more heavily in frontline capability and the delivery of results, and on finding new and innovative ways to do our work. Just very quickly, a few highlights that are recorded in the annual report. The year in review has been a busy and eventful year operationally for SIS. We've provided significant support to the Defence Force, the New Zealand Defence Force deployment in Afghanistan. A request for support was received from the Chief of Defence Force in August of 2012 following a spike in Defence Force casualties. I was pleased to be able to deploy NZSIS personnel into Kabul and Bamia to help to mitigate this threat and to support the Provincial Reconstruction Team up until their scheduled withdrawal in April of 2013. NZSIS made a material difference to that deployment and almost certainly saved lives. This would not have been possible without substantial Defence Force assistance and also without a small group of very capable NZSIS officers with experience in such on-threat environments. SIS provides a significant amount of protective security advice to New Zealand government departments. Security clearance vetting advice is the first and most important part of personnel security. This work currently makes up over a third of NZSIS activities. In the year under review, we vetted and provided advice regarding security clearances to more than 7,800 individuals. That's more than 20 for every single day of that year. SIS continued to progress a deep-seated program of enhancements to strengthen the security clearance vetting system. We've also taken the lead in a multi-agency program to strengthen New Zealand's protective security arrangements and behaviours to lift security awareness and culture in the public sector, focusing on protecting the key elements of people, places and information of national security significance. In early 2013, staff based in our headquarters in Wellington moved into Pipitiya House alongside GCSB and with other organisations within the New Zealand intelligence community. The purpose of the move was to achieve deepened collaboration and an efficiency dividend for SIS and GCSB through joint operations and combined support functions. This is in line with the Government's Better Public Services Programme. I'm pleased that GCSB has resumed its assistance with SIS investigations following the enactment of its new legislation. I'm expecting our collaborative efforts to increase and our partnership with GCSB to deepen over the next year as we find new ways of doing business together within the boundaries of each of our respective legislation. Within SIS, there is an increasing emphasis on more structured workforce planning, on developing staff through more challenging training programs and secondments, and on growing our future managers and leaders. After all, our people are the backbone of all that we do. Behind our operational achievements is a group of talented, highly motivated and professional New Zealanders who work for the service. These fine men and women are dedicated to making New Zealand a safer place, to protecting New Zealand lives and to contributing to New Zealand's standing in the international community. Their work is often thankless and can be dangerous. Sometimes it's conducted in unpleasant and unforgiving environments. They are our unsung heroes. New Zealand is a safer and a better place because of them. But all the individuals who work within SIS understand and appreciate the importance of oversight and accountability of an organisation of this kind. All of our investigations and operations are undertaken in accordance with our Act, which is the legal framework within which we work. We have robust internal policies and are subject to external oversight. And these oversight arrangements were strengthened earlier this year when the GCSB legislation was passed, and this is an important dimension in maintaining the public confidence that we need to do our work. So in closing, Mr Chairman, can I say that there are still plenty of challenges ahead for NZSIS as an organisation, but we're an essential organisation that makes a material difference to protecting New Zealanders